Oh, this is a good one. Oh, you'll all love this one. Whenever the band, Maynard's band, would play around Philadelphia, my mother would always feed the band. She was a cook. She cooked in my high school, head cook. She was a head cook in a hospital, so she could always cook for 30, 40 people, like that. So these were great. Maybe she did it 5 times, fed the band. I think there's a photo of it. We have a photo of my mom giving Maynard a birthday cake in the basement. But what I would do is I would get all my Maynard records, and I would put them on the turntable and have it playing while we would eat. And Maynard would comment on the different recordings. It was interesting. And the recordings I had, they weren't the Rocky recordings or MacArthur Park. It was all like Message from Newport and Jam Session and Dues and all the hard bop stuff and the big band he had with Lanny Morgan and Ronnie Cuber and all that stuff. So I had all that. So and he was great. He would just eat and talk, and as something would come up, and he had some interesting things to say about some certain recordings. But Jam Session came on, and if you don't know Jam Session is a record. It's a jam session, but it's Maynard and Clifford Brown and Clark Terry, Richie Powell on piano, Sarah Vaughan, Max Roach on drums, and it came on, and the Move is one of the tunes, and so I think, what is this thing called? Love. Anyway, it comes on, and Clark is playing. Clark Terry's playing, and Maynard loved Clark, and he loved Clifford Brown, and so Maynard's talking about Clark. I said, what was Clark like? He goes, oh man, Clark was just great. He said, one time Clark, all the trumpet players love Clark. That's just the thing. Clark Terry, his chops, I guess the setup was just great. And some of the greatest trumpet players would say that Clark was probably the best trumpet player to play trumpet as far as setup and chops and all that. Maynard certainly said that. And Dizzy Gillespie said that. And so Maynard said, we're playing a tune, and Clark was having a little bit of trouble, which isn't like Clark. And sometimes when you play a song, it's almost like another song that you can't remember. So you're playing the tune, and you feel like, wait a minute, I know this tune. It's almost like something else, or sometimes, before you totally lock into some chord changes, you can be playing chord changes that are almost like something else, and that something else is bothering you until you figure it out. So Maynard said, he leans over to Clark and says, Clark, you okay? And Clark says, I don't know what it is about this tune. And Maynard said, it's just Lady Be Good in G. And this is Maynard saying the story. And then Clark goes, oh. And then Maynard said, I didn't realize what a bad career move that was until I heard Clark play the tune after I told him it was Lady Be Good in G, because Clark then just destroyed it. He just ate up the changes. And Maynard's like, bad career move. Clark doesn't need help. He kind of took us all to school on that one. So that was interesting. And then we asked him about Clifford Brown while the music's playing. And he said, Clifford was great. He said everything about Clifford flowed. The way he talked, the way he was, the way he moved, the way he played. And he said the women loved Clifford. And Clifford was just Brownie was his nickname. They just loved him. Anyway, big, they all just love playing with each other. So we're listening to this thing, and Maynard said, I remembered that when we booked this session, it was like early. It was like a 10 o'clock session, and it was over about 2. And he said, in the session, so this is, if you look at that recording, Jam Session, right? Maynard said in that session he remembered that he told someone he would put together a wedding band for their wedding that night, and he forgot to do it. And he remembered in that session. And this is Maynard telling us this while it's playing, and my mother's bringing out, the pasta and everything. So Maynard said he realized that he had to get a band together for nighttime, and he didn't know what to do. So he asked the guys in that session, would you guys mind playing a wedding with me, because I forgot to book the band. And everyone couldn't make it, but Clifford could make it, and Max Roach could make it, I think they needed to get another piano player. I forget who else they got. But anyway, he got some guys. And in the band was Clifford Brown and Max Roach, and they go to this place to play this wedding. And he said, they all agreed, let's try and play the best wedding band, straight, no swinging kind of stuff we could play. And Maynard said they played a polka, and Max is back there playing a polka beat, and Maynard's playing the melody, and Clifford put a mute in and sort of improvised what he thought a clarinet part would be. So they're playing this polka, and he said some people would walk by the band and look at the band like, maybe some people who knew jazz players, but they couldn't believe what would Clifford Brown and Maynard Ferguson and Max Roach be doing playing at a wedding, playing these Daddy's Little Girl and all that stuff. And some people looked, and then they'd look again, and they just shook their heads, and they kept walking. But he said they played the whole night, and they tried to play it as straight as they could. He said it was a riot. So how about that for a wedding band? I thought that was great. He had a lot of great stories about recordings. That's a wedding band.